Am I the asshole for giving one daughter more inheritance? My husband and I have 2 daughters. Let's call them Emma, 32 female, and Sam, 29 female. My husband died of a stroke 2 years ago, and he left everything to me. I'm rewriting my will as well in case something happens to us. Originally, everything was split 50-50 between the girls, but now I'm splitting about 70-20 in favor of Emma. Emma has ADHD and isn't doing great in life. In those days, everyone just assumed she was lazy and she didn't get the help children get today until she was in her teens. She just finished high school and is working at a retail store as a stalker. It's backbreaking and she doesn't have much in the way of savings or anything. Her car was her father's when he passed. Sam works in tech as a project manager and her husband is a doctor. They live in a $1 million house and have 2 kids. I'm not worried about Sam. She's always been very capable and excelled at everything. She was always the overachiever and I don't think she needs help financially. Her and her husband probably take home $500,000 after taxes a year. I want Emma to inherit the house and the car when I pass. I think it will be good for her because she can live in it or sell it and buy another one. Sam will be fine and her husband have several houses and a summer home. But Sam is angry with me because I've made it clear that Emma gets most of our belongings. The bank savings and stocks will go to Sam, but if I live to 80s, she won't have too much. Probably 20 to 30% of what the house is worth. But I think it's fair because she's doing much better. Sam called me to yell at me saying I'm favoring Emma. I reminded her of how much worse off Emma is than her, but she said that since they were both her daughters, she should get things 50-50 or it's favoritism. She said I should will half of the inheritance to her children for college funds, but I reminded her she makes more and she can save for them. I told her it's not about favoring Emma over her, but Emma is worse off and she will be fine, which resulted in her hanging up and refusing to come over for Christmas. Am I the asshole?
Oh, I first started off and I was like, yeah, a 70-20 split, which I don't know where the other, 10% charity, whatever she's doing. But I think it's really hard because this will was written when her husband was alive. And so it was also his intention to have his daughters equally share their assets and everything. So it's hard when one partner goes first and then the will is changed kind of without their decision involved. But I get having ADD. It's something I really struggle with. And I get having to work harder and go the extra mile to get, what it might take someone who doesn't have that a quarter mile to do. I have to go a mile and they go a quarter mile. But at the same time, Emma is really young and she's got a lot of opportunity, a lot of life ahead of her to get to that other place where her sister is. But I don't know. I think if you want to make sure she's going to be okay, I think you leave her the house if it's paid off. She doesn't have to worry about a place to live. She can afford the property taxes, hopefully. And if she can't, she could sell it to buy a more affordable house. But I think leaving everything to Emma, I would feel like I was getting slapped in the face by my mom. I would feel like there's heavy favoritism at play. It's not a good feeling.
No, not at all.
I think my sister's boyfriend, male 44, is infatuated with my son, 13. I, female 38, am a single mother living on a waitress salary. Times are rough right now, and due to unforeseen circumstances, I've had to move with my sister for the past couple months. It's not an ideal situation, but I'm doing my best. I have an ex-husband, male 40, who is emotionally abusive, hence the divorce. We share custody of my incredible son, let's call him Roman, 13. Who has been so understanding of our financial situation. I love him more than I love myself. He is kind and intelligent. He stole my ex-husband's face, unfortunately, so he's beautiful. Every mom will say that their son is beautiful, but my kid really is stunningly gorgeous. The amount of adults my age or older who have given him creepy and unwarranted, he's going to be a heartbreaker in a few years, comments would alarm you. He has ADHD, but maintains decent grades. He plays a sport and is good at it. He got lots of friends who he visits often, and vice versa. Despite the changes in our living situation, he's thriving, and I do anything to keep that up. My sister, let's call her Sarah, 42, and her boyfriend, let's call him David, 44, are well off and live in a massive house. My sister was happy to take me in, but her boyfriend David, not so much, which I completely understand. I offered to pay rent, but my sister won't have any of it, so I do chores around the house and cook it as often as my work schedule will let me. I never saw much of David anyway. He was often at the bar with his friends or working or locked in his room playing video games. When we did see each other, he acted like I didn't exist. My son Roman was staying with his dad for a while as I was figuring things out, and I was worried about David's attitude once my son moved in with us. I talked to David and promised him that Roman would be respectful and well behaved, but he was weird about it and shrugged me off. Then David met Roman. David is absolutely fascinated with my kid. His disposition changed so quickly that it gave me whiplash. Suddenly, he stopped locking himself in his room and decided to spend time with us. Well, mostly my son. He helps Roman with his homework. He watches all of Roman's favorite shows so that they can talk about them together. He buys him food and gifts. My sister Sarah is over the moon. She's been telling me about how us moving in has been the best thing for their relationship because David is happier now. I thought I was sweet at first, but in the back of my head, I think something more nefarious could be going on. To paint a clearer picture, I've noticed some changes that I've noticed and I can't decide whether they're innocent or not. 1. David texts my son often, which wouldn't be weird, except he does it while he's at school. The texts themselves aren't weird at all, but David lightly scolds him for not replying sometimes. 2. Before my son moved in, David was rarely ever home during the afternoon and evenings. He He'd stay out after work and go drinking with his buddies until late at night. It's a habit he's had for years, according to my sister. Now, he's home all the time. He gets home before Roman gets off the bus, around 3:15 p.m. if he's not at practice, and stays home all day, even offering to babysit while I'm at work through the evening. He still drinks, just in the house. 3. Last Wednesday, I woke up to use the bathroom during the middle of the night. I get to the bathroom, you have to pass by my son's room. I was surprised to see that the door was closed all the way, since Roman always likes it open because his room gets hot at night. Also, he's been staying up late texting his friends lately, which has caused him to sleep through his alarm and miss the bus some days. So that night, I opened the door to let air in to make sure that he was asleep, and there was David, standing by Roman's bed, in the dark. He stated that he was looking for his cell phone, but I saw him jump with anxiety when I opened the door. He left quickly, muttering something about how it might be in the kitchen. Why would his phone be in my son's room? And why was the door closed? 4. David offers to drive my son everywhere he needs to go. Only him. School, if he misses a bus, practice, his friends' houses. This is the same man who wouldn't lift a finger for me until my son moved in. It's been incredibly helpful since I'm not home often, but a part of me wonders if he's doing it for the wrong reasons. 5. I caught David doing Roman's laundry, resulting in a few articles of clothing going missing. This one irritated me because I make my son do his own laundry. I asked him not to do this, but his excuse is that he's trying to save water. I don't know how to fight him on this. I'm terrified to bring this up to my sister. Am I reading into things too much? Am I silly for worrying that he might have ulterior motives? If I tell my sister and she gets angry and there's nothing going on, she'll kick us out and we'll be homeless.
Am I the asshole for going off on my wife for commenting about our 3-week-old daughter's looks? My daughter, our second child, is 3 weeks old. Pre-pregnancy, my wife was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and depression. And now, after birthing our baby girl, she's experiencing postpartum. Our first child, our son, looks so much like my wife, and she's a looker, so my son is so cute. Our daughter, on the other hand, looks a bit more like me. Her hairline kind of has a widow's peak, her lips are relatively thin, and her nose is a little larger. Well, nearly every day, my wife has made comments to our baby girl about how she's sad that she got daddy's features. Am I the asshole for going off on my wife for commenting about our 3-week-old daughter's looks? Here are just some things she said to our baby girl. Don't worry, I'll get you a nose job as soon as you're old enough. My family is beautiful and all the women are timeless, and your dad's family, not so much. And your brother has a beautiful pouty lip and you got stuck with those pencil lips. I went off on her and said I don't care if she can't understand, I understand, and so can our son. She's 3 weeks old and perfect and noble, and she needs to stop projecting. Her own mom used to make comments about her appearance as well, so why would she do it? Am I wrong? Am I the asshole for going off on my wife for commenting about our 3-week-old daughter's looks? Here are just some things she said to our baby girl. Don't worry, I'll get you a nose job as soon as you're old enough. My family is beautiful and all the women are timeless, and your dad's family, not so much. And your brother has a beautiful pouty lip and you got stuck with those pencil lips. I went off on her and said I don't care if she can't understand, I understand, and so can our son. She's 3 weeks old and perfect and noble, and she needs to stop projecting. Her own mom used to make comments about her appearance as well, so why would she do it? Am I wrong? Am I the asshole for telling my wife I can't trust her after she didn't text me about towels? For context, me and my wife are in our 30s. I had a stroke last year and had aphasia as a side effect and passes normal to most people. Since the stroke, our communication is worse. Sometimes when I talk to her, she says I'm mean and cries, but I have no idea why. Well, today I took my kids to swim class, but when I got there, I realized I forgot towels. I texted my wife and she offered to go home and get towels and bring them to me. I thanked her, got the kids in the pool, then called her, but she said she was still at work because someone was blocking her in. She said her coworkers were getting her towels and she'd be there as soon as possible. Am I the asshole for not letting a mom with a baby in front of me and telling an elderly lady to F off? I went to a shop today and service there was really slow and only one register was open. There was a really long line of people with majority of them having full carts of items, but I only had one item. Behind me was an elderly lady and a mom with a baby. The older lady started telling the mom to skip the queue and go in front because she's with the child. I turned to her and asked her to speak for herself and that I do not agree that the mom skips in front of me. So of course we argue and I say that she should wait like everybody else. And if she's unable because of the baby, she shouldn't have brought the baby to the store. Am I the asshole for not letting a mom with a baby in front of me and telling an elderly lady to F off? The elderly lady said she never saw behavior like this, and I'll understand when I have my own kids. I corrected her and said if, then she started telling me that my life will be horrible if I don't and how I lack empathy. So I told her to F off, and the older woman and a mom kept talking about me and my behavior. The mom then complained how she feels uncomfortable existing in a public space because of people like me. I have no problem with kids, but in this situation, why should she have a privilege to skip a line just because the baby popped out? It's not like the baby was screaming or anything. Am I wrong?